Hey everybody, Waifu Belector here, the only fair human on Earth, and how is Multiversus doing? You remember Multiversus, the Warner Brothers powered free-to-play platform fighter that had a very long beta back in 2023 where the game exploded onto the gaming scene and over the course of a few months fell all the way off a cliff. Then they ended that beta and eventually fully launched the next year, which is this year in 2024, with a whole bunch of changes and updates. And that full launch was nowhere near the popularity of their beta explosion. By the way, do not Google the term beta explosion, you have been warned. No, I'm kidding. But the game launched in a pretty healthy state in terms of player base, despite it being so much less than they had early in their beta phase. But these days, we're well past even the launch, and Multiversus is currently in its third season of content. And I still play the game from time to time if I'm not playing anything else and my buddies are on. And as I've been experiencing the game from its launch to right now, I just couldn't help but wonder, how is Multiversus doing? You know, check on your strong friends. No, I'm kidding. But seriously, how is Multiversus doing? So let's take a look at that. And you know, if you end up enjoying the video, remember to like and subscribe. It helps out. But okay, let's go. Now, as I talk about Multiversus, it's gonna be a little different than some of our other videos, only because there aren't a bunch of numbers and concrete evidence and hard facts to really support my speculative theories. It's really strictly my own observation of the game and the community around the game, but I'm still gonna tell you what I think. So yeah, as I said, Multiversus launched to a decent player base. However, right from the off, they ruffled some feathers because a lot of people were not too keen on some changes to movement, visuals, and just straight up certain features that were in the beta being removed at launch for some reason. So nearly immediately, they were losing people, but they have since rectified a good number of those problems and gotten the game in a better place fundamentally. But still, to this day, the game remains pretty buggy, and I'll get back to that. However, as time goes on, it seems obvious that Multiversus's player base continues to gradually shrink day by day, or at least it would seem so. Like I said, there aren't really hard numbers, but dwindling numbers and interests can be seen in simple lack of exposure and chatter about the game online. Also, in the ignoring of some pretty obvious quality of life stuff with the game. And not to mention, I was actually playing the game the other day with a friend and we got put into 2-on-2 matches versus bots like 4 or 5 times in a row. We were forced to swap over to ranked mode in order to even find a real match. Now maybe people play casual matches in solo and free-for-all and it would be easier to find a real match casually there. But still, you don't want a section of your game to be that vacant, or at least appear that vacant. And you mix this stuff with pretty muted or at least tempered receptions to content drops, and you've got to wonder if Multiversus is doing alright. To be fair though, nothing the devs at Player First Games do really comes off as aggressively desperate to try and coerce new players. I've watched their update streams and stuff, and while they are trying to improve the game and give fans what they want, they also ignore some of the bigger stuff and kind of just fit in stuff it seems like the devs themselves want. And that could be a problem. I mean, it probably is, but it also could be communicating that Player First has room to not appease the player first, ironically, which might mean the game is doing better than I think. But that's a stretch, honestly, and pure conjecture by me based on the dev team's posturing. They could just be good at not flinching in the face of failure like NetherRealm Studios right now. From what we can see and what we know, I think one of 2 scenarios is happening. The first is that Multiversus is and has been in a slow downward slide toward destruction since launch, and is only delaying the inevitable. Or they are settling into one of those smaller live service game pockets where most people forget all about the existence of the game, but you look up 5 years later and it's still fucking there. Not unlike their fellow platform fighter, Brawlhalla. Those are the 2 realities that I currently see standing a chance at being canon. I don't think they're gonna drop a character or do an update that just causes a huge surge of popularity and turns the game into a much more successful endeavor. That seems pretty damn unlikely at this point. So let's talk about the viable options, and let's start with option 2 because it's shorter to answer. What if Multiversus is just establishing a long-standing spot in a lower live service tier? Well, if that's the case, then just keep doing what you're doing, honestly. It doesn't fucking matter. If they are in a place where they feel they have a firm enough, loyal player base to stand on for the foreseeable future, then there's really no reason to dramatically change or panic about it. I mean, for players hoping for bigger changes and more dedication to fixes, if this is the case, those fixes probably aren't coming because player first is likely content with where they are and have no incentive to provide any big shakeups or changes. This scenario simply means you're along for the ride or you aren't, but the ride is going regardless. But the more pressing option was option 1 that I mentioned. If Multiversus is in a slow nosedive to shut down town. If that's the case, then what can be done to prevent it? What does Multiversus need to do? Or what should they do? Well, I'll start with some of the fundamental stuff first. Earlier I mentioned Multiversus still having bugs and ignoring some obvious quality of life stuff. Now let's talk more specifically about what they are. Because to stay afloat, these things should probably be addressed. The first thing is actually the very first thing that happens when you open the game. You press the login button and you wait. And you wait. And you wait and keep waiting, a little more waiting, and there it is, I can play the game. The login screen is the slowest thing in the universe. I don't know why this game takes so fucking long to log you in, but it does. It should really be fixed. After that, we should probably shape up the party inviting, which sometimes just flat out doesn't work, at least on PS5. Often I have to invite someone via the PS5 party chat in order for the invite to actually be sent. I have no idea why Multiversus has this problem. There's also the game getting stuck on the loading screen between matches and just before matches, as well as just being generally slow to transition into a match after everyone has selected their perks. There are more bugs, but if you aren't getting the picture, the core functionality of Multiversus outside of the actual fighting part needs a lot of work. It actually needs to work. But all of that, important as it may be, is general quality of life. Let's talk about the juicy part that really attracts modern players. Content. Plentiful quality content. And for Multiversus, their biggest content attraction is of course their playable character roster. And I've gotta say, unfortunately, I think they've kinda been lacking in that department a bit. Firstly, the characters can roll out kind of slowly, but what's worse is that the characters they choose are often not worth the wait. Let's take season 2. You had Samurai Jack, who is a decent pick, but not insanely mind-blowing, and yet he's still more premier and attractive a character than the other character who came out that season, Beetlejuice. A shameless tie-in to try and push ticket sales of the Beetlejuice 2 movie by releasing a character people weren't really asking for at the same time. And now we're in season 3 where we have one of their stronger picks. Yes, the Powerpuff Girls are the focal point and a good pick, but along with that good pick comes probably the worst pick yet. The next character coming to Multiversus, and she might be out by the time this video drops, it's Nubia. And everyone in unison said, who? I know, who is that? Who was asking for this? Why did the game need this? And listen, I'm a big DC fan. I am aware of Nubia's existence, but that's about it. There are so fucking many characters that they could have chosen over Nubia. It's literally like the worst choice they could have made. I can't think of a reason why they picked this niche character. Did they just want another DC character? There's already like 5 of them. And even then, why not Flash? Why not Raven? Why not Green Lantern? And okay, so I think Maybe they wanted more female characters? Well, I just mentioned Raven, but I don't know, Marceline from Adventure Time still isn't in the game. I think she's coming probably next season, but why do we need to put Nubia in first? I don't know. They could have picked another character from Steven Universe. Every prominent character in that show that isn't Steven is a woman. But okay, fine. Maybe they just wanted another black character. Fair enough, but why not Cyborg? Why not Static? Why not Craig of the Creek? So then I think they must have wanted specifically a black female character, right? That has to be the reason, which I'm not gonna act like is super easy to come by with their owned IP. I can't think of a lot. However, even if we're going with their very specific criteria of black female DC character, picking another Amazonian was the worst choice you could have gone with. I would have chosen Vixen. I would have chosen Rocket. I know if you're not huge into DC, you might not know who they are, but they're characters that would play far differently from Wonder Woman and not share her aesthetics at all, which I think would be better. Or, oh my god, I just thought of something. They missed the chance to meet their criteria that I made up, I might add. Meet that criteria and add Green Lantern at the same time. Green Lantern Jo Mullein, Sojourner. This is one of the Green Lanterns. She's a really new character in the grand scheme of comics, and her design is good, albeit a little bit over the top, but that over the topness I think would lend itself well to the Multiversus art style, and a Green Lantern would have a way more interesting moveset. Oh man, now I'm just mad Nubia's not Joe. Whatever, you get my point. Nubia is a bad pick through and through, and my point is that they should be picking more exciting banger characters. Where is Ben 10? Probably the most requested character for Multiversus. Where is Ben 10? And I get it, it's hard because he turns into different aliens. How do we do it? Smash Bros already showed you how to do it with Pokemon Trainer. Just pick 3 of his most iconic aliens that he has and go from there. Marceline is another one, but like I said, she's likely coming next season, which is good. But then they also have Ice King to fall back on. Another banger choice. But then where's the regular show representation? That's an easy slam dunk, and you've got a good few choices. You can do Mordecai, Rigby, or Mordecai and Rigby as one character. Then there's Muscle Man and also Skips. You can throw any of those characters in and the internet will make a fuss, a good fuss. How about they throw in Raven from Teen Titans? This whole fucking game banks so hard on nostalgia, and you put a premium nostalgic character like a whole generation's first goth crush in front of them, and player first is like, nah, no thanks, Nubia. It's fucking stupid. I'm just saying, make better choices. I know way back early on, there were rumors and leaks of Gandalf and possibly a Harry Potter character. I'm sure those got wrapped up in licensing and legal stuff, but if you can make that happen, those would be amazing. Also, throw fucking Scorpion in the game from Mortal Kombat. But nah, they're probably gonna pick Wile E. Coyote or some dumb shit that no one wants. Whatever, man, you get what I'm saying. Anyway, let's move on to the perk system, which is currently a useless, pointless system that does very little. Very few perks are worth using at all. It's supposed to add a bit of uniqueness to your character, you know, a unique build on top of the same old character to make them kind of play how you want. But all of the perks are so tame and dull that most people don't even think about them, nor should they. The perks should probably either be removed, buffed so that they're actually worth something, or just reworked entirely because they're pretty inconsequential right now, just a throwaway mechanic. This is all far less important than the characters and the quality of life stuff, but still, it's something to fix. At the end of the day, I truly do not know if this game is on the slow path to death or a comfortable mediocrity. It's really hard to tell. If I had to guess though, I think they're leaning a little closer to staying alive with Brawlhalla status. But again, I'm really not fucking sure. It seems like a close call. But this is what's been on my mind, or rather, what came to mind after a recent session of Multiversus. But now I want to hear what you think. Do you think Multiversus Multiversus is Dying? Do you think it's bad? Is it getting better? Do you like that they picked Nubia? All of that. Do you even still play the game? Or are you thinking about picking it back up? I don't know. Drop all your opinions and whatnot down in the comments. I want to read them. Even the ones I know I'm gonna see where you talk about how stupid and wrong I am. But don't just leave an insulting comment. You can leave an insulting comment and also remember to like this video if you enjoyed, and also subscribe even. I'm always here giving those good, fair, anti-hive mind gaming takes every single week without fail, and I'd love for you to see the next one. But even if you don't like or subscribe, thanks for getting this far in the video. Congrats on your attention span, and until next time, I am Waifu Belector. I am just a normal guy. I like hentai, and I still like multiverses. For now, goodbye.